Hello, Year 10. Today we are going to be expanding and simplifying polynomials. But first of all, let's have a quick review of the work that we did last lesson. Last lesson, we were using our polynomial notation to substitute into polynomials. So if I'm wanting to find what p of -1 is, that means I want to sub the -1 into the x for the equation that I've been given. So p of -1 will be equal to -1 to the power of 4 minus 2 lots of -1 cubed plus 5 times -1 minus 10. And then you simply calculate the right-hand side of that. So that's equal to -12. This process can also be used to help us find missing values in our equation. So in question 2, we're told that p of 2 is equal to -3, and we're going to use that to find this missing value k. So the x value is going to be 2, and the polynomial is going to be equal to -3. So under the p of x, that's equal to -3 equals 3x will be 3 times 2 plus the k. And now I just want to solve to find out what k is equal to. So 3 times 2 is 6. And then if I subtract 6, I will get that k is equal to -9. Okay, so that was last lesson. This lesson we are wanting to expand. You are already familiar with expanding binomials, so 2 sets of brackets, those kinds of things, but we're going to do even more than that today and expand some much larger things. So it says here in the dot points, expand products of polynomials by multiplying each term in one polynomial by each term in the second polynomial, and then simplify by collecting like terms. So question 1, we're going to start with the familiar and gradually work into the harder, newer types of questions. So question 1, we want to expand x to the power of 4 into the bracket, which means it will need to multiply by each of the terms inside. So x to the 4 times x is x to the power of 5. Then x to the power of 4 times minus 6x squared is minus 6x to the power of 6. Okay, moving on to the next one. Expanding again, we want to multiply what is outside the bracket by each thing inside. This time there are 3 terms inside, so we have 3 lots of multiplying through here. So underneath equals 2x cubed times 1 is going to be 2x cubed. 2x cubed times minus 2x will be minus 4x to the power of 4. 2x cubed times x squared will be 2x to the power of 5. And that's it, because none of them are like terms, so we've expanded and we've finished that question. Okay, increasing difficulty again, on to part C. Now we have 2 sets of brackets, so that means each thing in the first bracket has to multiply by each thing in the second bracket. So I'm going to start with the x squared, and I'm going to times it by each one in the second bracket. That will give x squared times x to the 3 is x to the power of 5. Then minus x squared times 2x is 2x cubed, and x squared times 3 is 3x squared. Now that that is done, I need to take the x term, the second thing in the bracket, and multiply it by each thing in the second bracket. So x times x cubed is a positive x to the power of 4. Then x times minus 2x is minus 2x squared. And then x times 3 will be plus 3x. Now it is quite likely that I have some like terms in here. Let's have a look. X to the power of 5, that's the only one. X to the power of 4, x to the power of 3. But we've got 3x squared and minus 2x squared that are like terms that will go together. So we're going to do a second line of working where we're going to collect up like terms, and at the same time, we're going to order our terms from the highest power of x down to the lowest power. So the highest power of x is x to the power of 5. The next highest power of x is the x to the power of 4. Then the next highest power is minus 2x cubed. Now for our x squared terms that are going to collect together, we have 3x squared minus 2x squared, which will be a positive 1x squared. And then last of all, the 3x sitting on the end. Putting them in the correct order sets us up for future work, such as long division that will be coming up in our next lesson. So it just makes things easier for future calculations. Okay, let's go over the page to the next question, question 2. We have a polynomial p of x, which is a cubic degree 3 polynomial here. And then we have another polynomial, which they're calling q of x. Expand and simplify the following. And it says there's a couple of things to do here. The first one is I want to times the p of x with the q of x. So timesing them would mean if p of x is equal to x cubed plus 5x minus 4, and I'm timesing that with the x cubed plus 5x plus 1, I need to expand that out. So there are 3 things in the first bracket that will have to times with all 3 things in the second bracket. So it's going to be a very, very large expansion. So we're going to start with the x cubed in the first bracket and times it by each thing in the second bracket. So that will be x cubed times x cubed is x to the 6. Then x cubed times 5x is 5x to the 4. X cubed times 1 is x cubed. Then, moving on, we need to times the 5x by each thing in the second bracket. So that will give us 5x times x cubed is 5x to the 4. 5x times 5x is going to be plus 25x squared. 5x times 1 is 5x. And I still have the minus 4 here that needs to multiply in to each thing in the second bracket. So minus 4 times x cubed is minus 4x cubed. Minus 4 times 5x is minus 20x. And minus 4 times 1 is minus 4. Okay, so there's 9 terms in there. Now I need to look for like terms. So my highest power of x is x to the power of 6, and there's only one of them, so that's going to go first. Then I'm looking for x to the power of 5s, but there aren't any. So let's move on to x to the power of 4. There's an 5x to the power of 4 and another 5x to the power of 4. So that's going to make a total of 10x to the power of 4. Moving on to the next power, we have our powers of 3. So we have x cubed here, and then we have another minus 4x cubed over there. 1 minus 4 makes negative 3x cubed. Then, keeping going down the line, we are looking for x squareds. So I have a 25x squared. That's the only one, nothing to collect with. So let's just go plus 25x squared. Then the x's, we've got 5x here, minus 20x there. 5 minus 20 is negative 15x. And then the only thing left is the minus 4. So there it is, expanded and simplified. Question 2 says, I have q of x in some brackets and I want to square it. So that just means I want to square the q of x, which means times it by itself. So that would be x cubed plus 5x plus 1 times another x cubed plus 5x plus 1. And then I go for another big expansion. So let's multiply the x cubed by each thing in the second bracket. So x cubed times x cubed is x to the power of 6. X cubed times 5x is 5x to the power of 4. X cubed times 1 is x cubed. Now the 5x times each thing in the second bracket. 5x times x cubed is 5x to the 4. 5x times 5x is 25x squared, and 5x times 1 is 5x. Finally, the 1 times each thing in the second bracket. 1 times x cubed is x cubed. 1 times 5x is 5x, and 1 times 1 is 1. Collecting like terms. The highest power is x to the power of 6. Then we don't have any x to the power of 5s, but we do have x to the power of 4s there and there. So 5 plus 5 makes 10x to the power of 4. Then we have x cubes. We have 1 plus another 1 will make 2x cubes. Then the x squareds, we have got 25x squared. It's the only one. So let's go plus 25x squared. Then we have 5x plus another 5x, which will make 10x, and then the plus 1 sitting on the end. Ooh, lots of expanding. Okay, well, just in case you haven't quite had enough yet, there is one more question which says expand and simplify, and there are 3 brackets to expand. When this happens, only ever try to expand 2 brackets at a time. So I am going to leave the x plus 4 exactly where it is, and I am going to expand the second and the third bracket together. So that means this would be a normal FOIL expansion. So we're going to put 2x times each thing in the second bracket. I'm going to open brackets to put this in. So 2x times 3x is 6x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. Then we're going to do the minus 1 times each thing in the second bracket. So that's going to give us minus 1 times 3x, which is minus 3x. Minus 1 times 1 is minus 1. Close the bracket. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to just simplify that bracket because I have some like terms in the middle. So that will be 6x squared. 2 take away 3 would be minus x minus 1. Okay, now I am ready to expand everything in that first bracket into that second bracket. So we're going to start with the x out the front, and we're going to times that by each thing. Times that, times that, times that. So x times 6x squared is going to be 6x cubed. X times minus x is minus x squared, and x times negative 1 is negative x. Then we are going to do the 4 times each thing in the second bracket. 4 times 6x squared is 24x squared. 4 times negative x is negative 4x. And 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Then we're going to put them in order from the highest power down. So 6x cubed is the highest power. Then we have minus x plus 24x squared, which will make a positive 23x squared. Then we have a negative x minus 4x, which is negative 5x, and then the minus 4 on the end. Okay, so time for you to practice some expanding by doing exercise 10C.